Imagine this. It is completely dark. There are no streetlights, no phone screens, no electric bulbs anywhere. Just endless black night stretching in every direction. You are sitting beside a small fire, and beyond that fire, nothing. Just darkness. And something is watching you from inside it. This was the reality for ancient humans every single night of their lives. No walls, no locks, no alarm systems. Just a flickering flame standing between them and a world full of things that could kill them instantly. Fear is one of the oldest human emotions. Scientists believe it evolved in our ancestors millions of years ago as a survival tool. Without fear, humans would have walked into danger without hesitation. Fear kept them alive. But ancient fear was different from modern fear. Today we worry about deadlines, social media, and money. Ancient humans feared things that could eat them, poison them, crush them, or drag them away in the middle of the night. The very first and most constant fear was darkness. For hundreds of thousands of years, night was genuinely dangerous. Predators hunted after sunset. Enemies moved under cover of darkness. And the human eye was completely useless without light. Studies of modern hunter-gatherer communities show that people rarely sleep alone and rarely stray far from fire at night. This behavior is ancient. It goes back to a time when darkness was not just uncomfortable, it was potentially your last experience alive. Fire was not just warmth. Fire was protection, safety, and psychological comfort all in one. Losing your fire at night was not an inconvenience, it was a crisis. Ancient humans may have feared the death of their fire almost as much as death itself. The second great fear was large predators. And for good reason. Ancient humans were not at the top of the food chain. Not even close. They were medium-sized, slow, and largely defenseless compared to the animals that shared their world. Cave lions, giant hyenas, saber-toothed cats, and massive bears all lived alongside early humans. These were not the animals you see in modern zoos. These were enormous, powerful hunters that actively preyed on human beings. Archaeologists have found human bones with predator bite marks on them, confirming that ancient humans were hunted and eaten regularly. Fear of large animals was not paranoia. It was a completely rational response to a genuine and daily threat. But not all ancient fears were physical. Some were deeply psychological. Ancient humans also feared the unknown, things they could not see, explain, or understand. And the ancient world was full of unexplainable things. Thunder was terrifying. Lightning was terrifying. Earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, floods, and eclipses were all completely beyond human understanding. When the sky roared and shook, there was no weather app to check. There was only fear. Without science, the only logical explanation for these events was that something powerful and unseen was causing them. This thinking gave birth to some of humanity's earliest supernatural beliefs, the idea that invisible forces controlled the world around them. Ancient humans likely believed these invisible forces could be angry. If a storm destroyed your shelter or a flood killed your animals, something must have caused it. And if something caused it, perhaps something could also be done to stop it. This is where ritual began. Offerings, dances, symbols, and ceremonies were all attempts to communicate with forces that ancient humans feared but could not see. Fear, in this way, actually shaped human culture and religion from the very beginning. Another major fear was disease and illness. In a world without medicine, a fever could kill within days. A wound could become infected. A simple toothache could lead to death. The human body was frighteningly fragile. When someone fell suddenly ill with no obvious cause, ancient humans had no explanation. The sickness seemed to come from nowhere. This mystery made illness even more terrifying than the physical suffering it caused. Many ancient cultures developed the belief that illness was caused by evil spirits entering the body. This was not superstition for the sake of it. It was the best available explanation for something deeply frightening and completely misunderstood. Shamans and healers performed rituals to drive these spirits away. Some of their treatments actually worked through plants with real medicinal properties. Others were purely psychological. But both helped frighten people feel that something was being done. Fear of the dead was also surprisingly widespread among ancient cultures. Many communities believed that the spirits of the deceased could linger near the living. This was not always seen as comforting. Sometimes, the dead were feared. Some ancient burial practices were specifically designed to keep the dead from returning. Bodies were sometimes tied, weighted with stones, or buried far from camp. The goal was not just respectful burial, it was making sure the dead stayed dead. The fear of dangerous strangers was also deeply rooted. Ancient humans lived in small, tight-knit groups. An unknown face was not an exciting new acquaintance. It was a potential threat. Strangers could mean violence, theft, or invasion. Research suggests that prehistoric warfare existed much earlier than we once thought. Skulls with healed and unhealed injuries from weapons have been found at multiple ancient sites. Violence between groups was real, regular, and deeply feared. Ancient humans also feared losing their group. In prehistoric times, being separated from your community was almost certainly a death sentence. You could not hunt large animals alone. You could not defend yourself alone. Isolation meant death. This deep social fear still lives inside us today. The pain of rejection, loneliness, and exclusion is processed in the same brain regions as physical pain. Our ancestors literally felt being left out as a form of suffering because for them, it was. Starvation was another primal terror. Ancient humans lived in constant uncertainty about food. A failed hunt or a bad season could mean weeks without enough to eat. Hunger was not just discomfort, it was a slow and agonizing threat to survival. Evidence from ancient bones shows that many prehistoric people experienced periods of severe malnutrition. Their skeletons carry the physical marks of hunger and stress. Fearing starvation was not irrational, it was a lived reality for countless generations. Water was equally critical and equally feared in its absence. Finding reliable water sources was one of the most important tasks for any group. A dried river or a poisoned watering hole could end an entire community within days. But water itself could also be terrifying. Rivers flooded without warning. Seas were unpredictable and violent. And deep water hid things that could not be seen. For ancient humans, water was both essential and deeply frightening. The ocean in particular was likely seen as something close to supernatural. Its scale, its depth, its unpredictability, and the strange creatures that occasionally washed ashore made it a source of genuine awe and terror for early coastal communities. Ancient humans also feared the cold. In prehistoric ice ages, temperatures dropped to levels that made survival almost impossible. Communities that could not find shelter, build fire, or find warm clothing could be wiped out by a single winter. Archaeologists have found evidence of ancient humans huddling deep inside caves during extreme cold periods. The deepest, most sheltered parts of the cave were the warmest. The cold pushed humans further inward, and further into their own imaginations. It is inside those dark, cold caves that some of the oldest art in human history was created. Paintings of animals, handprints, and strange symbols cover the walls. Some researchers believe these paintings were connected to fear, attempts to understand and control a terrifying world. Perhaps the deepest fear of all was death itself. Ancient humans watched people die regularly, from predators, disease, accidents, and old age. Unlike animals, humans understood that they too would eventually die. This awareness created a unique kind of dread. Psychologists call this mortality salience, the awareness of your own eventual death. Some researchers believe this awareness is one of the driving forces behind human creativity, religion, culture, and meaning-making. We build things, believe things, and create things partly because we know we will die. So in a strange way, fear made us human. It drove us to create fire, build shelters, form communities, develop language, create rituals, and imagine worlds beyond our own. Every major achievement in early human history has fear somewhere in its roots. Modern humans still carry these ancient fears. The fear of darkness, of predators, of strangers, of isolation, of illness, and of death never fully left us. They just changed their shape. Our fears evolved as the world around us evolved. That feeling you get when a room is too quiet. The discomfort you feel in a dark parking lot at night. The anxiety of being alone for too long. These are not modern problems. These are ancient survival signals still running in a modern brain. Ancient humans feared the dark, the predator, the storm, the spirit, the stranger, and the unknown. They built fires, told stories, created gods, formed tribes, and developed rituals, all as answers to fear. All as ways to feel less alone in a terrifying world. So what did ancient humans fear most? Everything. And nothing has changed as much as we think. The fears are older than language, older than civilization, older than memory itself. They are the fears that made us. And in many ways, they still run the show.